Hello, viewers. We are happy to have you join us again this week. Welcome to Relocation Realities podcast. And we are very, very delighted to bring your way powerful insights that can help you make those very important decisions on your destiny, your locations, international locations, whatever it is, whatever route you're contemplating, in moving abroad. And then also the important things, tips you need to have at your fingertips so that your relocation is smooth and not only smooth but very effective also. All right, so in the studio today, we have some very wonderful people. I'm very excited. I'm very delighted that the important personalities we have in the studio today. Let me start from our indefatigable director as Creative Impact Global Consult, the subject matter expert himself, with all the years of experience. And like I always say, I'm over 98% success rates in all the matters he has handled. Very interesting, very interesting. Please welcome with me our director, Mr. A.M. Iluyemi. You're welcome on the program, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be on this platform. And I want to believe we will not bore you today, again, as usual. Thank you.
All right. On today's podcast, also, we have a special guest who is not just talking from theory. Of course, we don't do theory here anyway. We don't do theory here anyway. What we do here is always the real thing. But today we have, like we promised you last week, we told you that we're going to have on the next edition a special host, a special guest who will bring the experiential dimension of all that we have been talking to you about. And we're going to be asking some very important questions about how he was able to achieve his own relocation. All right. What are those tips, insights from somebody who has been there, who has been in the same value of decision you are today, someone who has seen it all, okay, someone who is currently abroad and who can tell you the pitfalls to avoid, the traps not to, and the things that really work. All right, so we have on the show this evening, or this whatever you're watching from, maybe afternoon, the morning, Mr. Adedeji Olabanji. He's joining us today from Warsaw, Poland. We are happy to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Hope to entertain the viewers.
All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, so on this podcast today, we have a very wonderful team. All right, she's joining us from our Lagos studio. All right, please welcome with me, Ms. Victoria. Please say hi to our viewers. We're happy to have you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here.
All right, thank you very much. So we are getting to a lot for us to learn today. Quite a lot of things we're going to be looking at, but very importantly, there are important details. We're going into specifics. In our last podcast, we gave you a general overview of some of the very important things. We talked especially about why you must be strategic and purposeful. There's a need for you to have a very clear intention of why you're going abroad. How strong is your why? Don't just do it because others are doing it. Don't just do it because it's the in thing. Do it because you have a long-term strategic objective you're trying to achieve as a person or as a family. All right, whatever it is that you're trying to do, ensure that there is a strong why, and that has a way of impacting on the quality of the decision you're making, on the quality of your thought processes, and the quality of engagements also. Because sometimes the hurry makes people avoid the important connections they need to make with professionals in the field who can guide them through things that you need to do. All right, so but today we are not just giving you a general overview, we are going into more specific details of certain things that we feel are important that you should, all right, know. All right, but I want us to start with our director this evening, or better still, depending where you're joining us from, to the morning to the afternoon, just for the minute there. I would like to ask, all right, so we have said that at CIGC, we have successfully directed people out of confusion into clarity. But I want to just ask, so if you meet someone who who you have to advise, all right, on relocation, particularly you're looking at a destination like the UK, and the current rate, there's this current concern we have seen online, and of course some of the interactions we've had within the office, people raising questions as to UK, is the study route still a viable option for those who want to relocate, particularly if you're looking at UK and Canada. All right, there are very serious questions that people are asking. It appears that the number of refusal rates, the difficulties in getting through, all right, to a viable route in the study context. People are having that difficulty, and it's becoming a repeated question people are asking over the place. So, sir, I want you to just look at that question, throw more light. What really is going on in the study route sector, in that study route pathway? Is it still a viable route? What are these issues that people are raising about the UK and Canada? What are the issues really? What are the real issues? Or are we just, is it just noise? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Barrister. All right, let me start by saying, things are changing from year to year. Things are changing from year to year. The countries that are mostly visited, the choice of our people as destinations, that's UK, Canada, US, of course, Australia. They are tightening their borders, including the Schengen countries now. They are tightening their borders because they are aware of what is going on in Africa, and not only Africa. The Chinese relocate, Indians relocate in mass. Lebanese relocate. Of course, that's out. So what I would say in essence is they are tightening their borders, and then that's why they are changing policies. Actively from 2023, Canada changed some policies as regards proof of funds, and because we don't have too many Africans, to be specific now, too many Nigerians that can, meet up to the requirements, to get, qualified for the study permits. So it has made it a little more difficult. But study is still one of the most viable routes to relocate. As long as you're able to meet up with the requirement for the proof of funds, that's to show that you're financially stable that probably you're one of the elites in your country, you're one of the people that can afford them, that can afford relocation in your country. And then you're able to prove your hometown. One of the most thank you, sir. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, 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 you have done justice to it. All right, but I want to ask a follow-up question to that first question. All right. So when preparing for a place, a destination like the UK, all right, what is the major barrier? You have already identified some of the challenges that people have said, the current rate, current noise, the current concerns that have been raised within the industry currently about difficulties in getting through to the UK and Canada through the study route. But like you've just said, it's still one of the most viable routes going abroad. But the question I want to ask now is, what are the major barriers? Is it that people do not have the right approach? Those who are succeeding are still making it through to the UK and Canada. What are they doing differently from others who don't seem to be able to scale through that immediate problem? Apart from the issue of it's like you have raised.
Okay, all right. Visa approval is not automatic. Definitely, each consular the requirements that must be met. The only thing that's changed is that the requirements, have increased. Even for UK, for the past 1 or 2 months now, it is said that the proof of funds is changed. What is needed is different now. And apart from that, there are other policies that are foundational factors for the level of scrutiny that they are employing before visa approval. It is evident over Nigeria and a few other African countries that the rate of approval for UK has dropped. And that's because we could say that probably they are trying to reduce the inflow of immigrants.
Okay.
So, of course, they know the effect that would have on the economy. But my point is still that it is still possible to relocate to these countries. All that you need to do is you start working towards the requirement early enough so as to be able to meet up. So it's still possible. It's difficult for a consular to see you meet up with the requirements and not give you an approval. So we just need to you only need to be more detailed and more proactive, put in more resources, you will still get it. What we are encouraging here is to make you see that your relocation dreams, Is a possibility to get them achieved, irrespective of the limitations that that's the limitation that is facing different people at this particular time. It's still very possible. You only need to be, to consider the requirement and start working on them early enough. So it's still possible to relocate through study. And then that's not the only most viable route. We have mentioned permanent residence for some countries, for example, for Canada, which is possible to achieve from your country, from Africa. All right, we have, of course, work routes. For that's not too common. Why? Because the opportunities are very few for Nigerians, except for other African countries. A few other African countries, that they may get those opportunities so easily because of the image of their country. We're not damaging the image of Nigeria. We're just being realistic that our people should be aware of this. But what is the most viable route for you as a Nigerian? Of course, this platform is only for Nigerians, but we're saying this because we are from Nigeria and we want to help our people. That the most viable route now to achieve your relocation dream, number one, is study. Is the fastest. Is one of the easiest because you'll be able to prove your credibility. So your faith will not be left to chances. Thank you.
All right. All right. So I still have two questions along that line, but let me quickly bring in our guest at this point so that he can give us, some perspective from his own personal experience. Yes, Mr. Adedeji, I would just like to ask you, when you were preparing to move over to Poland, let me just say to Europe, I don't know if it was Poland you had in mind at first, but probably you had other destinations in mind. But when you were thinking of moving abroad, what was the major barrier you faced? What would you say was that thing that almost made you think that probably you won't be able to make it through to this particular dream to relocate abroad?
Okay, where do I start from? Talking about Babel, let me be specific. The first thing that came to my head with this question was that I had some problems because I came via study route, just like you said. It's the easiest, it's the fastest to come to Europe. So the very first challenge I had was with my university I went to. They couldn't give me transcripts. It took me some way that I'm not going to disclose for me to get it done. So this is like the very first barrier I had to go through because I was waiting for a transcript just to get the admission for like months, like about 3, 4 months. So I had to even like defer the initial semester where I wanted to join. So this was the initial barrier I faced. That I would say, yeah, this is after I've already set aside from the country I want to go. That's like in short, the first barrier I would say first.
Wow, wow. So your first barrier and what almost stopped you was a transcript issue.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So the Nigerian factor,
Funny, but yeah.
was the Nigerian factor coming up there, or was it something else? How were you able to surmount that eventually?
I mean, it was the Nigerian. I won't say it's an Nigerian factor, but it was the people factor because I had people that didn't want to do what they asked. I mean, they were paid to work, but they decided to do something else. So basically, I had to tell them. I resolved it was first thing. I went there to confront the owner of the school, which is a very funny story. I attended private school, so I had to go to of course, I didn't see the person, but I went to the office unannounced without a what was it called, an appointment date that I needed. But I tried to create a scene. So they would know at least somebody is looking for something. I mean, I've already graduated, I've paid all the fees, so it shouldn't be that hard. Then I went back to the Alliance office and I went to the school. I got like some one that wasn't done very well. So I got that together. Then I went to the lab service Lagos and I said, listen guys, give me a computer, give me your paper, and I'll do this thing myself in 2 hours. This thing that I've been calling you guys coming back and forth. Do you want me to do it or do you want prefer if I do it back home and I bring it for you guys just to print it? And then they realized I was serious and I was really, really needing this thing. So then they actually moved a little bit and then yeah, they got it done for me within weeks after that. So this is like what I would say my my own challenge initially that I had to like overcome. But before then, maybe I would just say this as well. You might ask this question, but let me just add it as well. Before then, initially I didn't plan I was going to come to Poland because I had sites on Canada because it was easy to get citizenship, which was when the idea of relocating came to mind, I was like, yeah, at least get my child a different passport. This would help my life, his life or her life, in whichever that comes first. But at least whatever happens afterwards, at least I gave you a different passport. My father didn't give me that. You understand? So I what problem? So money was the problem because I needed about 3.5 then, and I didn't have up to that. So I was like, okay, if this is not going to work, then somebody suggested Poland, and I had to research it, and I said, okay, Poland, there was nearby countries, and yeah, what's the plan B? Right. So that was then. Then after I started my side on Poland, let me go for this. I mean, like, the money I have can actually, get me here within a couple of months. This was the problem I faced was transcript. Then eventually I resolved it through determination and sheer stubbornness, basically.
Wow, wow. We're going to come back to that issue of Poland you just mentioned because there's an important aspect of today's conversation that dovetails into that. But before we go into that, I will still want to come back directly. So thank you, sir, for that wonderful insight. I didn't even think of this transcript issue as something that could be, but that's one very good insight that we are getting here today. So, but you had in mind Canada at first before you eventually found yourself.
Yes.
Poland.
Yes.
Director, sir, I wanted to just touch on. I said there was one more question along the Canada because all of this is just to open the minds of our audience to the possibilities out there. Of course, UK and Canada are one of the hottest destinations that people always, they are amongst the hottest destinations people always want to when you talk about moving abroad. Now that the US has put us on the ban list and all of that, so the next focus is Canada, the UK, and all of that. But for those who are asking questions as to what is it about this, what's the current state of things when it comes to post-study, work visa, and all of that. We are hearing there are some new policies, new things that have come up around that. Do you want to just shed more light on it, sir?
Okay. Yes, there is a
For UK and
study.
Yes.
Study work visa for UK. Let me start with UK. Study work visa is needed after your study program to renew your stay, and it has been 2 years. It has been for a duration of about 2 years. That is 24 months. Now it's been reduced to 18 months. Right after which you would need a sponsorship. You need a sponsorship to remain in the UK, and that is for UK. And of course, for Canada, you don't need for UK. You have to pay a certain amount, and that's about £3,000 per head.
Currently,
For Canada,
is that the current situation?
yes, it's been like that. It's been like that for a while. For Canada, your post-study work permit is almost automatic as long as the program you have come for allows that. So you must have considered that before you pick the program. Not all programs will give you access to post-study work permit. So once you have that, and then after that, of course, you can apply for a visa renewal, or you apply for, you get a sponsorship just like UK. You get a sponsorship just like UK, but you have access to getting a permanent residence quicker, faster in Canada than having your indefinite leave to remain in the UK. So that is being extended to over 10 years now, ILR. For Canada, it's still, you're entitled after you've worked over 3 years. You can apply for your PR. So different destinations with different benefits and different opportunities for immigrants.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I still have one question along that line, but I want us to now make a bit of a comparison. One of the things that we're trying to do with today's podcast is to broaden the minds of our audience so that they are not fixated on certain countries, even though, of course, we are still recording success rates. Even as of now, I still saw some of the postings that they.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I guess okay, all right. So over to you, Barrister.
All right. Sorry, that was network. I was trying it, but it logged me out. So, question I was asking, and I still want us to address is, like we said, we are trying to expose our clients, our audience, particularly, to possibilities that are outside, the popular destinations. And I wanted to ask Mr. Adedeji, right, that what has been your experience in Poland so far? People have misconceptions. They think that is it an English speaking country, for instance? Can I do my study there in English? What are the opportunities, job opportunities? What's the pay like? Financially, is it rewarding? Is it Is the currency strong? Is it really abroad? You know, sometimes you have such questions. People ask you when you hear about countries like Malta, Poland, and they ask, are those countries, do they really look like you are abroad? You know, that kind of thing. So, from your own experience, you are currently in Warsaw. Tell us, let us demystify this whole thing. What has been your experience so far in Poland, sir?
Okay, where do I start from? I mean, it's for me, it's been nice. I would say Poland gave me a different version of me that I rather than what I came in with. So for me personally, it's been positive. I just support this with if I was back in Nigeria, what would I be doing? Would I be doing okay if, based on what I want for myself, or if I'm what I'm currently doing now? That's what I just supposed to be there. I don't compare myself to other person. So maybe for me it's fine. For other people, it might be a different experience entirely. Um, talking about what is in Poland, can I come to Poland? Is it an English speaking country? Is it good for study? I would say for academics, yes, it's a very good country because their degree is quite reputable and it's good. And whatever you came to study, right, it would have an impact in your life. That's just the truth. If you actually go to school, not like you just use it as a part one and then you decide to leave school. If you actually go to the school, it would have an impact in your life. That's what I would say. Is it an English speaking country? Of course not. It's I think in Europe there's only now currently in the Euro there's only one country that speaks English. Uh,
Yeah.
European continent, of course, England, but like in the EU, it's only Ireland that speaks English. Every other country, they have their local language. The Dutch speak Dutch, German, Poland, Polish. So all of them have their local language, which is the first thing you need to learn if you actually want to integrate. But that's another conversation. So it's of course they do not speak English, but there are people that speaks English that are like multilingual. So of course, and if you're coming to study, like I said, it's a very good one because first thing first, the school fees are affordable. The standard of education is also good, and if you're coming to study, of course, you would pick the instrument of study as English. So you would come and study it in English, and you would meet people who are either career lecturers or career expert that depend on, like I said, depend on what you're studying, that experience both on academics and in the real world, in the corporate world, that they can actually impart you in a positive way. So for me, it's Poland has been good. I came here with the different mindset. I was going, like I said, I was like, okay, what is in Poland? The first time I heard about the country, the next thing that was in my head, I'm a little bit good with geography. I said, okay, there is Germany close by. German is a free education, and there is opportunity to get my PhD. Even if I did with masters in Poland and it doesn't work, I can just cross the border, which is about few hours drive, and I'm there, take up a PhD, get a PhD there, and go to the US. That was the part when I was coming in. That was the foresight. But then here I am, 6, 7 years later, I'm still here, right? And I do still have the PhD. So if it's not good for me, I'm not going to
Yes.
still be here. So it depends on individuals. So it's what you
Mm.
have. It's There are some countries that would make you. I used to say a lot of people that came in with they have different personality now compared to what they came in. Of course, there are people that came in now they are regretting. If they had knew, they would have just stayed back in their country. Perhaps they would be free. Some of them are in jail. Some of them have moved on. So it depends on what you came in with, the crowd you move in with, and what your foresight. So for me personally, it's great. I started a family here. So if it's not great, I'm not going to think about it. So for
Mm.
me, it's been a positive one.
Wow, wow, wow. I like what you said. So they can study in English, of course, like you just said, but you didn't talk about the currency. So give us an what are the opportunities and how strong is the currency? Those are the things that people really after. They want to really know, okay, what are the
Mhm.
prospects?
Yeah.
Can
So,
you just
like I, s-
second?
yeah, I get you. So, like I said, it's a good country for academics. You can come, you get a good, education. What are the prospects after school? So, like you said, in the UK, of course, there is the opportunity to do post study. Then you would get a CRS afterwards. In Poland, there is something like that. It's called postgraduate visa. So it's given for 9 months. Within 9 months, you could get a work. If you get a job, this is the important part. If you get a job in Poland, for example, you do not need a work permit from that company to work. In fact, you do not need any work permit to work in Poland. If you're a graduate of Polish university, you only need to get a resident card to live legally. So you are not tied to a particular company. And you can work with every company, and there is opportunities. There are people that I will tell you, there are people that came into Poland when I came in then that had zero idea of what they want to do with their life. Right now, some of them are in product design, some of them are like managers, they're in people management, some of them are in HR, different careers that they never thought possible, right? So there is opportunities in both in IT, in banking, in manufacturing, in process. There is opportunity elsewhere as long as, of course, entry level. By the way, I'm not even saying there's entry level opportunity, the jobs that they will take you on, they will teach you what you need to do, and then they would promote you within their ranks within couple of years. So there is opportunity regarding the currency. I mean, they have their own currency. Mind you, they spend all the currency that's available, but they have their own local currency, which is the Polish zloty, and it's about looking at comparing to naira, which is relatively the easy one for people to calculate, about 360 or 80 if fluctuate, so about 360 to about 380 or 400 sometimes if the economy is really bad and the Nigerian government is not defending naira. It could go as high as that, right? So that's the currency compared to, I mean, it's 1 British pounds to 5 zloty. So it's also not that very weak against other currency, because if you earn 1,000 in the UK, that's like 5,000 here, right? So it's 1 to 5, and to the US dollar is about 1 to 4. So it's like $1, 4 zloty, that kind of thing. And to euro is about 5 as well. So
Yeah.
that's the currency, and the pay if you get the job. The average salary in Poland today is about 10,000. By the way, 8,000, 10,000 is the average salary. Of course, there are people that earn lower than that, but like the medium average salary is 8,000, 10,000, and cost of living is, well, now relatively on the medium range. I won't say it's on the high side, because now your rents might take, it depend on you as a your rent can take 50% of your income. But at the end of the day, this is the most important thing. You get a different opportunity. You build a skill set that you might probably would not have. If you're in the Nigeria, you don't know somebody, you might not have those skill sets. So that's generally what abroad would give you. I mean, countries that have prospect. There are some countries that forget about it. You just they just want to use you. You understand? But some countries, like most of the European countries I have seen, as long as you went through the school, you get a job, you would learn skills that you probably would not have before. Even if you have those skills, you develop them in a more, you know, structured and standard environment that would give you prospect for your life. You have different character. So if you ask me generally, is it a good country? I would say yes. Hope that answers your question.
Hmm. Yes. So, barrister, I would, okay, before you call me in, I would say that from my own perspective, hello, are you there?
Fantastic. Yes, it does. It does. A lot of insights there. Thank you so
Okay, okay,
much.
all right.
Yes, yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Yes, I want to say that,
Please go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
okay. Of course, your experience, what people ask most time, those are the last question that I was asked, considering the currency. What I, what has been my own response so far has been that you measure what you take in Poland and compared to what you take, for instance, in let's say UK now, and then consider the cost of living, then the taxes you have to pay. If you calculate well, if you're getting the same amount you're getting in UK, and that's, assume you're getting about 2,500 pounds in the UK, you would have more savings in Poland than in the UK. All right. So what we're trying to make people see is that your experience in different countries is dependent on what you're looking for. If you're looking for, the money to gather, you want to gather money to build house on the sea, or you want to buy a street in your village, on your town, then you'll be under unnecessary pressure. But what we're trying to communicate to people is relocation should not be, you should not, the perspective should not be about gathering money so quick, making money so quick. I think it should be having a quality of life. And of course, your experience in different countries will be dependent on what quality of life means to you. All right. And of course, you want to consider, some people would say, when they talk about quality of life, they talk of the income versus cost of living, the healthcare quality, education, you know, safety and social welfare, work life balance. Work life balance, Schengen has it. That
All
has
right.
been my
Let me
observation so
interject.
far. Okay. All
Let me
right.
also interject here because this is very interesting insight because I you said something you can compare your income to other developed countries or other more developed countries. So, say for example, if you're in the US, you're earning minimum salary, average salary of about 70,000 US dollars. That would come down to maybe $6,000 per month or so. And you would pay rent of about I don't know. I've never lived there, but I know that at least it's the same. You would pay rent of maybe 1,500, and you would left with something. It depends on where you city you're staying, but let's just say 1,500. When you look at it, you would say yes. I'm doing. Let's say you're just a ordinary HR personnel. Let's just use that for general easy. A HR personnel and you're earning 6,000. Your take home after tax and is 6,000. You would think, oh, I'm doing better than my colleagues that we went through school together that migrated to New Zealand, for example, that is earning the same 6,000 New Zealand dollars. Yes, you're doing better because you're doing the same job and you're getting the same salary. And the exchange rate, of course, would work. But here's the reality: the $6,000 you're earning in America, you would spend it in America in that economy, which, of course, you have to get a car, you have to, because there is no public transportation, you have to spend in that currency, buy food, buy groceries, do activities there. At the end of the day, you might be able to save, I don't know, maybe 1,000, 2,000. It doesn't matter. The same person in New Zealand would spend maybe less because there's good public transportation, would enjoy better quality of life. So this is like what it is important. At the end of the day, what are you going about for? What is your aim goal? If you're not doing better in Nigeria, you think about, okay, look at it. I'm not doing better here, or I'm doing better here. Why do I want to? I have friends that is selling has a shop. He sells goods. He travels abroad frequently. He doesn't have reasons to go. So you have to look at what reason do I have to go? What's my reason for relocating abroad? Is it to get quality of life? Is it to get second passport? Is it for what is the reason for me to migrate abroad? This is what you think about. And if a particular country crosses the threshold of this, then it's a good country because at the end of the day, you would go there. Of course, you can. Everybody cannot be a billionaire. There's only one in probably in Africa or so. So, and at the end of the day, it's what you want to go for, and what is that country offering you. That is the most important thing. I have friends by the way, this is let me also add this. I have friends in Poland that hence about 25,000, which is I don't know, maybe 10,000, $12,000, British pounds. And they're living in Poland. They are spending, this is the kicker, they are spending maybe 1,500 pounds of that 12,000 they are earning on lifestyle in Poland. And their mates that is earning same amount in the UK, right, doing the same job or a lesser job, would spend about 6,000 of that 10,000. So at the end of the day, would you say the person that is living in Poland is not enjoying good life because he's living in a country that doesn't speak English, right? The guy that is living in the UK, oh, yeah, everybody speaks English, he has good environment, is making living better than the guy living in Poland. No. So at the end of the day, it's what works for you. I mean, I've like I said, I have friends that are doing different jobs, and when they get the pay, they would look at the quality of life for the work they've done, for the money they've got. They'll be like, guy, I wish I can have a simpler work for this for me to earn
Exactly.
this money. So it's what works for you. It's you have to gauge it. Personally, I would now on the final note. For me, for example, the only way I would leave this country is say, guy, there is a job. You would do this. You will have the same type of job, because then I know I would get the economic salary of that country, and then I would go to this new country. Otherwise, it doesn't work for me. So it is what matters to you that you need to like gauge yourself with. That's what me I would say. I mean, everybody have different things and different folks or different folks. So this is what I would say is more important. What matters to you more? Why am I relocating abroad?
Yes,
Does
what
this
are you looking
country
for?
tick the box for me? If it does, my brother, jump on the flight. If it doesn't, then look at the country that ticks it for you.
All right, sir. All right, sir. Thank you so much. Director, please, you will round it on this
Yes,
one.
I wanted to
Just give
mention.
us in
Okay.
30 seconds. Okay, a quick overview, a quick juxtaposition between
Yeah.
Poland or the Schengen area generally, not just Poland alone, Canada and UK. Just,
Okay.
I know you have done something like that, you've talked on it a bit, but just in 30
Yes.
seconds, sharp contrast and
Okay.
what people should consider and why they should broaden their mind to look at opportunities in Poland or in Schengen area if they feel that they don't have what it takes to meet up the financial implications of study route in Canada and the UK.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Let me quickly speak on two things. Why I would say Schengen is a better alternative if you cannot afford UK, Canada. um, for now is consider work-life balance. Like I was saying the other time, work-life balance. If you're a family man, for an instance, I've met several, men that are concerned about, uh, will they not lose their family, the synergy they have with their family when they relocate? Of course, the fear came because of what they have had from people in the UK. And then from observation, from what I've checked, not only in a few but Schengen countries, majority of the Schengen countries, there's a work-life balance. There's work-life balance. You you still you be able to retain the synergy with your family. In fact, it will be more because there's less stress as regards security, and many other things. Of course, so work-life balance is something to consider. Then the second is immigration stability, long-term prospect, immigration stability. You don't have to start thinking, oh, my BMI, my residence card will be expiring in the next 8 months. I need to gather money to pay for study work visa or get a COS if you're not able to get for free. It is not a secret again that people have to pay sometimes in the UK for COS. All right, and that's I've had people call me, a woman, in tears that she relocated, and then she got a post-study work permit, and the way she was working, she had a problem, and then she's not sure she's going to get a COS, and she had just 3 months left on on her visa, on her residence card. So she was already panicking that she would have to leave, of course. That may happen in other Schengen countries also, but because there's no money factor, and you have to gather all your life savings to secure your stay back, means Schengen is a better alternative. So immigration stability. And you have access to permanent residence, of course, after 5 years of working in that particular Schengen country, if provided as the policy. Of course, we have few of them now that they are intending to increase to 10 years. But there's more immigration stability in the Schengen. All right. And we're trying to tell our people this so you will not continue, living in the UK with panic attacks. You can make proactive decisions, and you will not regret, you will not be lesser moving from the UK to be it Spain, Italy, Finland, um, um, Sweden, Poland, and the likes. So that's what I would say: immigration stability and work-life balance. Basically, there are things to consider. There are things to consider. Very important. As long as you are not looking for quick money, you are not looking for. You don't want. You're not planning to be the only billionaire in your village or your town. Of course, that may put you under unnecessary pressure, and if you're not careful, you enter into crime, even abroad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Very wonderful insights there. Okay, so to our viewers, you have heard quite a lot. Another thing that the Schengen environment opens you up to is that you can inter-country, you can move easily in that entire area. Right, over 20 countries that you can just move around with, just with one visa. All right, so, but we cannot take more questions today. We have other things I would have loved us to look at, but probably in our next podcast, we'll take a look at some of those things. We want to say thank you to our director for, as usual, your powerful delivery. We are so grateful. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And then want to say a big thank you to Mr. Adedeji from Poland. Thank you so, so much for the wonderful insights you have given us today. So what would be your parting shot to our guests, our audience? Just maybe in 30 seconds, what would you like to say to our audience as we wrap up? Mr. Adedeji.
30 seconds. If you have a dream you want to chase, please chase it. Um, if there is an opportunity for you out there, please chase it. Go out there and achieve your dreams. That's what I would just say. Don't let anything stop you, even on Nigeria. Don't let Nigeria stop you.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. All right. Director, we want to also hear from you. What do you have for our audience?
All right, thank you, sir. Let me end with this note. I would say that choosing the Schengen, of course, it's like we're advocating for Schengen now. It's just that we're trying to make people see that there are better alternatives. All right. You would get all that you're looking for, all that you're looking for, you know, in Canada, in the UK, absolutely better quality life. Of course, the level of income may differ, but if you really understand and know what you're doing, you would have good savings, and then you still be able to achieve what you're intending to achieve in Canada and then in UK, the US, and the likes. So think well and make your plans ahead. Like I said last time, make plans ahead of time. Be proactive. Plan, don't use a fire brigade approach so that you can get your reality, your relocation dreams, achievable. Plan ahead. You want to relocate next year, September, you can start planning from now. Save towards that, get all that you need to get ready ahead of time. And then with that, you can be sure that you're going to have what you really want to achieve. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so very much. All right, so Miss Victoria, let us say something to our audience. Say something to our audience. Let them just know that you've been there, and what has it been like on the show today? What have you really learned something? What stuck out for you? And then what parting words do you have for our audience? Let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you everyone for the being available today. We thank you. And if you are planning to travel today, I think it is best for you to listen to this podcast. Listen and make sure you pick on one or two things you think will be useful for you, and don't be afraid to think about traveling. Don't be afraid at all. We are here for you. At Creative Impact Global Consult, we are here for you. We are 1 DM away. So if you are thinking of traveling out, either Schengen countries or UK or Canada, just slide right into our DM. Thank you for listening, and you are very much welcome on this show.
All right, viewers, thank you. It's been nice having you on the show today. Until we come again your way next week, please stay out of trouble. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.